tips last. He, of course, points like it's still our ball. Look at Terrence Mann. If we could see it one more time, he just immediately turns and claps and goes the other way. Like, we got that. We just won the basketball game.
Well, Skip, they always do that. I mean,
okay, but this is not even close. This is off Ayton. He's 7 feet tall to 6 feet 5, and that's off Ayton. It's plain as day to me, even from this overview angle.
Well, the last 2 minutes was longer than the whole fourth quarter.
Okay, I got it. It took 33 minutes to go the last 90 seconds,
yeah, exactly.
33 clock minutes, because we reviewed everything. And I don't have a problem with the review and getting it right. It just takes so long.
But Skip, but you do realize that they reviewed a call that they didn't even call a foul on. You can't review Patrick Beverly. You didn't call a foul. But Patrick Beverly flopped, and then they went to it, and it's like, well, we got to call something because we stopped play. So they gave an offensive foul to Devin Booker. Skip, you can't do that.
Okay, but I did think Devin Booker caught him with his elbow up in his face.
Okay, well, go ahead and call a foul.
But they were reviewing for flagrant one.
Right,
okay?
But you can't do that, Skip, because you didn't call anything.
Okay, well, they did finally say offensive foul, but he didn't get called on the floor. Okay, I got it. Okay, so now this brings us to the fateful last play. And to your point, it happened so fast, it took me 10 seconds just to compute what had just happened because I couldn't figure it out. And I've got DeMarcus Cousins at 6'11",
right,
trying to bother the inbounds pass, and unfortunately he was trying to play for it to go backcourt,
right,
you know, like go to the go over his head
right,
instead of sideways.
Right.
And how Crowder got it past the edge of the backboard, because he's on the baseline.
Yes. Because
the ball off Ayton goes out on the baseline. Well, how he got it past the corner. Listen, it was the ultimate horse shot by Jay Crowder, because I think it would have gone in without Ayton.
That's what I was thinking.
All Ayton needs to do is just guide it on down, just aid it.
That's something Luka would do.
Yeah,
remember we saw
that's
Luka
a Luka shot. No, it is, or a Steph shot or something. It's a trick shot.
Yes.
Okay.
I was paused just like you were, Skip. I was like, okay, everybody's celebrating. I'm like, did it go in?
Okay, and here's the other robbery part for me. And I realize this is at Phoenix, and people are saying it's one of the loudest crowds in the NBA, and they're jacked out of their minds because of this playoff run they're on, and they're smelling finals. But there's a play that gets made by Ayton as he tries to break off the screen. If we could see the play from the start, he blatantly grabs hold of Zubac's jersey and just yanks him sideways off him. There you go. He yanked him. He grabbed his jersey and yanked him to impede his progress, like he's trying to slow him down so he can't chase.
You want him to call that, Skip?
I want him to call it. Would they call it in the first minute? Yes, they would. It's a blatant foul. Listen, any jersey grab, to me, that's a foul. It's just a foul. It's not like incidental contact, or that could go either way. If you grab the guy who's guarding his jersey or vice versa, it's a foul. You know it, and you could say the refs just missed it, but I didn't miss it. I saw it.
No. I'm not saying that. But I've sat up across from you over the last 5 years and watched you say in the fourth quarter of ball games, football or basketball, the officials are not going to make that call. You have to play through it.
Okay, but that's a let them play call.
Right.
Where they just bang into each other, and it's just physicality. That's not physicality. That's flat out dirty.
Skip,
that's dirty.
You know good.
That's breaking the rule. You cannot grab the man's jersey. And he grabbed him to impede him, to pull him back so that he couldn't get around Booker's screen. And he didn't get around Booker's screen because Ayton got scot-free to the basket.
You know what? In the words of Scott Foster and Kane Fitzgerald, that's a play on.
Play on with a jersey grab? Are you kidding?
Play on.
Yeah, it's a play on because Shannon won the game. That's why it's a play on, because that's just so blatant. And again, if you want to argue to me that they just missed it, that nobody saw it, but the truth is they just didn't have the guts to call it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. 98, you happen to be there. Was that a push-off on Jordan? Should they have called that by the letter of the law?
Yeah, but he didn't grab his jersey and throw him.
Did he push him?
There was a little push, but in that day and age, that never got called. It didn't get called in the first quarter. It was a much more physical game where they allowed a lot more hand checking, right? So this was offense to defense hand checking. Yeah. He got away with a little push. I will give you that. Okay. But they wouldn't have called it in the first quarter either. It was just the way the game wasn't called in 1998.
Well, they were calling some things in the first quarter that they definitely didn't call in the fourth quarter. And I thought, like, what? I already knew, Skip, once you put Kane Fitzgerald and Scott Foster together, the game's going to go on for perpetuity. because they're going to insert themselves into the ball game. You know that, I know that. That's just the way it is. Kane Fitzgerald called an offensive foul on Devin Booker. He's at half court. There's two officials up under the basket. Neither one of them calls it. He's at half court. Go talk about. Stop that.
Okay, I got it. So in the big picture, to your final point, these Clippers are extraordinary to me because they have no quit in them whatsoever.
They don't.
They have this weird way about them that the worse it gets, the better they get.
Right.
Just when you think they're finished, just when they fall behind by 9, Reggie Jackson hits a 3. Or suddenly Luke Kennard is hot and he scored 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Or suddenly it's Terrence Mann. It's somebody making a play after a play to keep them barely afloat. Then
Pat Beverly hit a 3.
he hit a big 3. And in fact, Pat Beverly, we'll talk about him later in the show. He doesn't get enough credit for how he can shut down a Devin Booker because he was all over him. And obviously they had an accidental headbutt. I don't know what you thought of it, but I just thought it was purely accidental, and they both took it pretty bad. I think they both probably.
I'm surprised it doesn't happen more with Patrick Beverly because he does a lot of leaning in, and so I'm surprised it doesn't happen more. But he caught him flush.
Okay, but in the end, if you look at the Clippers' playoff run, you see that even when they lose, they never lose by much. They haven't been blown out one time. Even my great Spurs dynasty teams going back over the last 10, 15 years, they would get blown out regularly, even in the finals.
Right.
There'd be a game where you just say, next.
Right.
Well, they never go next. They have lost all their games by a grand total of a 5-point average.
Right.
So when they lose, they don't lose by much. And when they win, they can blow you off the court. So now they won games 1 and 2 they played games 1 and 2 at Phoenix, and they won the 3-point contest by 21 points both times.
Right.
They had 7 more threes in both games.
Right.
And that's how they hung in there.
Right.
So I'm crushed because they needed to do this without Kawhi Leonard. They needed one.
Right.
Now they're really up against it. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. But in the end, my final takeaway from this game was I believe that it's in the league's head that there's some secret memo out there somewhere where once there's no Kawhi Leonard and he is not coming back for the rest of the playoffs, they need Phoenix in the finals. Chris Paul is coming back on Thursday night. We're about to discuss that.
Right.
So with Chris Paul and Devin Booker and an emerging superstar in DeAndre Ayton, they need Phoenix in the finals. And congratulations, you probably just pulled that off.
Skip, but you look at the balance scoring. Again, remember the other night they had 6 guys in double figures. Phoenix did. Last night they had 5 guys in double figures. Now the difference that the Clippers are running into, that big man DeAndre Ayton, he's different than Rudy Gobert. They can actually throw him the ball, and he can go make a play for himself.
Well, he can make 10, 15-foot jump shots.
And Skip, if you see the difference in defense, Reggie Jackson had him on skates. He was about to jump up in the air. Reggie crossed him over, and he went and blocked it and saved it. See, Rudy Gobert couldn't do that. Kristaps Porzingis can't do that.
Nope.
So this is a different type of a big man than what they're used to. And he shoots a high percentage. You know, Rudy Gobert, basically, you throw lobs, Skip. He get it up the... No, they passed the ball. He was facing up a Zubats and nailing 12, 15-footer. So you got to treat him differently. But give them... Skip, in the second half, the Suns shot 2 of 14 from 3, but they were 19 of 25 from 2. And they were 12 of 13 from the free throw line.
They're a 2-point and a free throw team. That's what they do.
Because if you think about it, Skip, they're 3 best players. Now, Book and CP3 can make threes, but that's not their game. Their game is mid-range. DeAndre Ayton is not even attempting that. So their best 3 players are basically great in the mid-range and at the basket. So I'm not surprised to see this, but I am surprised that they shot so poorly. Jay Crowder did not have a great game. And basically... that play at the end basically saved.
Well, he made no field goals. So he was 0 for, except for 1 pass.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even, Skip, he only took 3 shots. He was 0 for 3 from 3, but he was, perfect from the free throw line, a couple of rebounds. But give them credit, Skip. I mean, you want them to call this. See, you want all the team. You want every call to go to the Clippers, especially if they lose, when they've gotten some calls. Skip, you know good.
Those are the calls. Those 2 calls decided the basketball game.
No.
It's as simple as that.
Well, Skip,
nothing matters. If it's off DeAndre Ayton, out of bounds and you review that and you say, I'm sorry, it's off him, the game is over.
They reviewed it.
It's over.
First of all, Skip, did you think, let me ask you a question. When you saw it in real time, did you think that ball was off book, that Patrick Beverly knocked out of bounds?
Yes. You look at my timeline. I dare you. Go look at my timeline. I immediately tweeted that ball last touched Booker's hand. I tweeted it immediately.
You did.